Good evening, everybody. It's already past 5 p.m. I want to welcome everybody to the plenary session. I would like to begin by to welcome everybody to this session. A word or two before we commence the plenary session.
Hello, Dixon. I think you can just take people through the basic online etiquette as regards this meeting, like you did in the morning, so that people will understand that they need to put their mic on mute immediately they come in, except they need to speak.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. President. That's obviously the required etiquette that we'll need to express throughout the 30 minutes or thereabouts that we'll be spending here together for this session. Do well to always put your mic on mute. It's a little bit embarrassing when you see someone else mute your mic. So put it on mute, sorry. Let's be as civil as we were in the first two sessions. And I think things are improving as we go by. Let's do the same. Let's be very civil. If you want to say a thing or two, because the plenary session will require us asking one or two questions and answers need to come. If you need to ask a question or express an opinion, go to the chat, drop your name there, and now free to speak another minute or two. And today is going to begin with the reading and adoption of the minutes of the previous AGM, which was held at Benin City. And then we're going to go to the presentation of reporters. Then we'll move over to the petition. We'll get it adopted, and then we go to any other business, which will be followed by the adjournment and then the closing prayers. So that said, I think it will be fair for us to begin this session with an opening prayer. And this time around, I would like to crave the indulgence of, I'd like to call someone else today. Let me call on Mr. Tobo Shunu. Mr. Tobo Shunu, please open for us with prayer before I go over to the President for his brief address.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father in heaven, we thank you for yet another time in which we are gathered together. We ask for your wisdom and your guidance as we go through this session. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. So, Mr. President, a word or two before we commence the reading of the minutes of the previous AGM.
Okay, we are in this section. This is more of the preliminary section where we have to look at issues concerning THSOSA for the last 1 year, and chapters will give their report. But you will agree with me that it's not everything that happens in the physical when you are meeting that you can translate to and have the same effect when you are doing online. So because of that, and not to make the section too boring, when Dixon is going through the minutes of meeting, although it will be scrolling, but he will just go through the highlights, the major heading. But what is there is that after this AGM, there will be an e-brochure that will compile, that will be a compilation of the minutes, the various chapter reports, and the finances, both at national and the various chapter, and will be sent to everybody. It will be sent to everybody. You know, if it was like the physical agent would have distributed this, people would have had time to look at it. But for now, we want to keep it like this. But If you have comments, you can let us know after when it's going through the minutes or when the e-brochure is out. Definitely, this same minutes of meeting will be read at the next AGM in Port Harcourt. So if there's anything there, we can always clarify that out. Then let me just say this too. When for the national report, I will just speak on basic highlights so that we can move faster. Then the chapter president too, they'll just pick on key highlights in their chapter so that they move. I don't want this section to be boring, so I want it to be straight to the point. Then after that, we have I think the chairman constitution review will come, and we go through the constitution review. Then after that, we have, I think that is all we have for this particular
Section.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. President. So like Mr. President said, I'm just going to hit the main points. Please pardon me. Very shortly, you will receive the minutes on your screen. If it does not come from the central website committee, I would do that from my phone. But let me quickly rush through it. Minutes of the Delta Steel Company Technical High School Old Students Association 16th Annual General Meeting held on the 9th of November 2019 at the Constantia Hotels, Benin City, Edo State. And the meeting started at about, at about 11:22 a.m. The opening prayer was said by Oliver Korefe. We had our special guest of honor in the person of Mr. Prasanta Mishra, the CEO of Premium Steels Limited, who was represented by the DGM non-core, Mr. Austin Adiri. We also had in his midst, in his entourage, the principal of DS Technical High School, Mr. J.E. Sido, a vice principal, Mrs. D.E. Gibweze, amongst others. The keynote address was presented by Mr. Austin Adiri, representing the CEO of Premium Steel and Mines Limited, Mr. Prasanta Mishra. Then we had a speech by the principal of DSC Technical High School, where he highlighted a lot of things that have happened in the school. He informed the AGM that DSC Technical High School is now owned and operated by the Premium Steel and Mines Limited. And he reiterated the good work that the new owners of the school are not doing at the school. Also informed of the several academic feats that the school has encountered, or recorded rather, including the CEPLAT quiz competition, the LAPO science competition, the Nigerian Institute of Physics National Physics competition, among others, right? And then he concluded by appreciating the association who have consistently stood by the school at all times, right? Then we had a vote of thanks which was presented by the class of 1989. It was actually done on behalf of the class of 1989 by Sergeant Emmanuel Azubike Agboifo, and it was a very interesting aspect of that plenary session last year. Now, we move over to THSOSA Group Life Insurance Scheme, the TGLIS presentation. We had a representation from the TGLIS in the person of Mr. Agbo Prince. Mr. Agbo Prince gave a background history of the assurance company and insurance in general. And then he went on to receive questions and gave answers. Permit me to ask and to read out some of the questions that were asked and possibly some of the answers as well. I will take that of Erientia Bofale from the 1995 set. She wanted to know if hospitals are involved in the group life insurance scheme as it relates to the medical benefits, like the critical illnesses. Mr. Agbo responded that the company will defray any medical fee arising from accident-related issues alone, right? Edith Ubini from the 2003 set asked to know if one can choose either of the schemes or if all of the schemes are collectively covered. The response was the premium covers for all as it is a group scheme. Then I will take that of Engineer Enakeme Aworo of 1992 said he wanted to know the difference between the taxation and the NHI, which is already covering a lot of the THSOSA members. Mr. Agbo Prince responded that the major difference is that the TGLIS covers for accident-related ailments. All right, questions, but for the sake of time, I will skip and go straight to the plenary session proper. The plenary session commenced with the National President, Engineer Silvanus Majua Ajuya, calling on all to stand and give a minute silence in memory of all members of the association that passed on during the last 1 year. The minutes of the previous 2018 AGM was read by the National Secretary. Then we had some corrections. Most of the corrections were corrections in name. And then we had other corrections, which included that from Roture Celestine. He was wondering why the Abuja chapter report had no financial report in it. The response from Faith, the welfare officer of Abuja, was that there were certain hiccups at the chapter, and hence the financial report was omitted. Itama Kenneth made the correction on page 37 of that particular AGM brochure that Hasaba had no financial report as well. We also had from the Dirio Powell the 2007 set from Warri. He noted that the report printed by the Warri chapter was not the one he sent, right? That issue was resolved. And then we also had from Fole Princess and Atumu Emweje Voke. And then for the business of the day, we had the Constitution Review. The members of the Constitution Review Committee, CROC, were called out to present the Constitution. The chairman of the CROC was, however, absent. Engineer LCO Rene Sagwa then asked members to refer to the soft copies sent earlier via WhatsApp. Mr. Edino Powell of 2007 said, noted some inconsistencies with the proposed Constitution Review, right? Citing an example where the Constitution stated that not having more than one chapter in a state. And he said this is contrary to the present realities where, for instance, there are 2 chapters existing already in Delta State. He also added that the clause 2/3 of the financial strength of a chapter should be remitted to the national. He stated that that was rather too huge, as this may crumble the chapters. Mr. Ogenerume Ako of the 1997 for the inconsistencies, reminding the House that meanwhile, Mr. Ogenerume Ako is a member of the Constitution Review Committee. So this was his response to a Deering statement. He explained that for over 4 months, the committee called on members on chapters, sets, and individuals to go through the proposed amendment and make their observations known. However, they got inputs a few. More members complained of not following the conversation as they do not have the copies of the proposed constitution being reviewed. Oliver Korefe of the 1992 said, move the motion that until a hard copy of the reviewed constitution is well circulated, there should be a stay of the review. This was seconded by Ebofwale Henrietta of the 1995 sets. We went straight to the AOB. We'll also pick up, permit me to pick up the first 3 AOBs. Henrietta Ebofwale of the 1995 set stated that THS has no Parents Teachers Association. She therefore pushed for that going forward, a percentage of the PTA ESCO should be represented, that the THS parents in THSOSA should form a pressure group until a formal PTA is constituted. Priscilla Wiliki Eyaife wanted the association to ask the pertinent question why we don't have a PTA. And number 2, Engineer Enakeme Aworo of the 1992 set, stated that the class of 92 organized a coding clinic which was motivated by who, despite lacking in the sector. He therefore pleaded that alone should support them by cash initiative. Alessagua of the 1998 asset, he commended the Coding Clinic initiative, hinting that as a computer scientist who is present to assist that the national format in any project directed. And finally, from Organerume Ako of the 1997 said, he wanted the association to maintain her status as an old student association rather than carry the load of the school's PTA, insisting that parents of THS children should ensure that the association, the PTA, is brought back to life. Now, permit me to take that from engineer Benawari Fufeyin of the 2000 set. He reminded the House that only financially committed members are actual members of the association, and by effect, the only ones that should benefit from the association. He called on all chapters and sets to drive this point home and ensure that more persons commit to the association financially. Okay, let me just take the final one from Atumu Emwejevoke, 1998. He informed that the class of 1998 carried out a science equipment project at the alma mater, and he has not heard of any commendation for the effort of the set. The AGM host for 2021. The House was reminded that the host of the AGM 2020 has been agreed to be the Port Harcourt chapter, while Asaba was called to begin preparation to host the AGM in 2021. The meeting came to a close by a motion raised by Akwowaye Akwomemie and was seconded by Olive Okorefe. The 16th AGM of 2019, themed The Avalanche, was brought to a close with prayer said at 3:37 p.m. The list of those in attendance, they will be sent to us either during the meeting or after this plenary session. We had in attendance at the 16th AGM in Benin City a total of 198 members. Thank you very much. That was the minutes of the previous AGM. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dixon. I think you have to still moderate yourself in a way because you are the secretary. So if there is any comments on the or correction as regards the minutes of meeting, members that were present in the last AGM can kindly make such comment. Then after that, we can move for adoption of the minutes of meeting.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is THSOSA. I'm the Vice President for THSOSA Lagos chapter. So in the course of the minutes, I think my name came up during the Constitution review when there was a report about the Constitution review, and I was referred to as Engineer THSOSA. I didn't study engineering. I haven't had any current kind of training to make me go by the title of engineer. So I would appreciate if that is updated to just Mr. I don't have the title of engineer. Thank you very much.
Dixon, hope you noted that. Dixon, hope you noted that. Hello, Dixon. Tobo, if you are there, maybe it's offline. So, Tobo, if you are there, you can just moderate and fill in the blank space. So you can tell if there is no further correction, someone can move for adoption of the minutes of meeting, then someone second.
I, Henry Ibofwale, 95 cents. I move for adoption of the minutes.
Hello. Hold on. I, Rolly Okuchite, I second the move.
Rolly, which set?
Class of 90. Thank you. Good evening to you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a point, President. I think this is the plenary session, so it's a general meeting that you are presiding. So you are the one moderating.
Yes, why I asked Tobo, because Dixon and later I asked Tobo because I was trying to sort out some things from my end. But be that as it may, I believe we can still move ahead with some other things as outlined in the program of events. The next stage, which Dixon is supposed to highlight, which is the presentation of reports, like I mentioned, and including in addition to the minutes of meeting that was just adopted, by the time we finish, hopefully we compile all this into an e-brochure which will be circulated to members. It will be almost the same thing you see as if it's a physical brochure for the agenda that was printed. So I don't know, but we have the national president report and the chapter report. Like I mentioned, I will just go through the key highlights of what transpired during the year. Then after that, the chapters that are present with their present can take us through their report, just the highlights. So I will just take the key highlights from my report here. Sorry, it's not available for sharing. I'll just mention it, the key highlights. THSOSA National Executive Committee Annual Report presented by the National President, Engineer Silvanus Omaju Ajia, at the 17th Annual General Meeting held on the 14th of November 2020, in bracket, virtual. I trust we are all keeping safe in these trying times globally, and particularly in Nigeria with the current concern around security across the nation. I would like to especially reach out to our members who are part of the genuine and orderly EndSARS protest, who may have been traumatized by unfortunate turn of events that saw peaceful protesters being shot at the subsequent hijacking of the entire process by unpatriotic elements seeking to discredit a noble cause, resulting in the unfortunate loss of lives and wanton destruction of properties and looting. So let me go straight to major achievements under the year in the year under review. For one of them is the THSOSA Mentor Mentee Scheme, which started fully under the year under review, and we were able to generate within in-house list of mentors for this particular program to mentor 3 different categories of THSOSA members. We looked at those that are currently in the tertiary institution, those that have just graduated, but not more than 3 years post-graduation, post-NYSC, Then we look at those that have graduated more than 5 years. So part of this, from this, we're able to organize a webinar. And by extension, the series of presentations you are seeing today from different speakers, right from the first day, is a fallout from the data, the TMMS database of THSOSA members that we have as resource persons. That is what we are witnessing today, that we have been able to pull out from various panelists and guest speakers to take us through some very interesting topics. THS Inter-House Sports. The 30th Inter-House Sports athletic competition was held on the 20th. Was held on the 20. Sorry, was held in March. I can't remember the date to be precise, and was chaired by a THSOD, Tega Agosa of the 97th set, as chairman of the occasion and with support from other members of his set. He was able to raise the sum of 479,000, which was donated for the purchase of items such as chess boards, set of athletic jersey for school relating, male and female, etc. Members of THSOSA from Benin, Warri, and Lagos chapters were present at the event, which was a huge success. The other key achievements in the year under review was the group life insurance scheme. As you are aware, as you may recall, in the AGM in Benin, we launched the THSOSA group life insurance scheme, where we asked the preferred vendor, Mutual Life Insurance, to make a public presentation to members at the AGM. So after the public presentations, members were encouraged to pay for the group life insurance. At the end of the day, we were able to get 23 members that registered for the group life insurance scheme. Although scheduled to start in February, we were unable to do that, but we finally started in June. And today the scheme is operational. And I think we are on the right track, and I will encourage members as we move towards 2021, we will do a lot of publicity for more members to enroll in the scheme. The THSOSA integrated website, e-payment platform, and e-voting portal. THSOSA finally got a website up and running, which is currently being put to use, which is currently being put to use at the AGM after an initial test run for a mock election that was a huge success. The website was developed in-house 100% with the assistance of young THSOSA members that came together under the name THSOSA Website Design Team, that is TWD. The team did a great job by delivering an integrated website that we are currently using for the e-voting and the e-payment for the AGM registration. More features with the integrated website are coming in the more features will be integrated into the website in the coming months to be included, and this will include chapters and sets. And the website will be a one-stop shop for all information you can think of about THSOSA. The TWC, the THSOSA Web Design Team are the heroes of the virtual AGM, and I will recommend that at a later date and time, every member of the team will be given a THSOSA award for the dedication to service as regards for the association. Then the other key thing I want to say is about the THSOSA partnership with Women Kindred Network, HKN. This HKN actually was formed by a group of young THSOSA members that are currently in tertiary institutions, but we're more like colleagues in the hostel, like a clique in the hostel. But unfortunately, I think one of them lost both parents. So that was like the catalyst for setting up this particular network. So THSOSA was able to partner with the Women Kindred Network, HKN, a group of young THSOSA ODs in tertiary institutions. And our association endorsed an orphanage visitation project that provided welfare support by donating foodstuff and cash to an orphanage home in Saple, while other parts of the donation will be channeled to support at least an orphan in THS. that is financially challenged, and a total of 215,000 was realized as regards this project. Hopefully, on Monday, Tobo is currently in Warri, and he will be going to THS to do a presentation on the other part of this particular scheme, which is for the orphan that will be identified in THS that is financially challenged. Then the other thing I want to bring to our notice, as regards condolence visit to members, we did lost a lot of, I will not say a lot, but this year, 2020 has been quite challenging. We lost about 6 of our members. In addition to that, some of us members lost either our parents or brother or something like that, but whatever it is, this year has not been really pleasant to us. But we thank God that we are alive and we are here today to celebrate this AGM. But in as be that as it may, I want us to remember our loved ones that are no longer with us. And I pray that when we'll be saying the closing prayer, we'll have a minute silent for them, or we can do it now. So can we have a minute silent at this junction? May the souls of our departed colleagues rest in peace. Finally, I want to sincerely appreciate the various chapters and set members for their support over the year under review. It was a tough one. I know life has not been easy for all of us, but what we have, we're able to donate, and we pray that God will continue to provide for us as we continue to donate towards such a worthy cause. Thank you very much. That's the end of the report as presented.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that body of THSOSA. We will quickly move over to the various chapters for the chapter reports. A summary can do, but make sure you touch all the high points. So we're going to go in this order. I will begin with Abuja chapter, then Asa. Masaba will go to Lagos and Benin chapter, rather. Lagos to go to Port Harcourt chapter, and finally, of the secretary, can you kindly give us your annual with us? If Abuja is not here, let us go.
I don't know if this is across, but this is SSAGWA, and I'm struggling to hear the moderator. I don't know if this cuts across everywhere.
I think that's correct. Sometimes we don't get to hear him.
Dixon, perhaps if you have network challenges, it might be helpful if you turn off your video. We will understand, but if you turn off your video, you will use less bandwidth, and so it might make your audio less difficult.
Okay, so we are constrained with time. So can Lagos start? If Lagos report is there, I believe because you submitted to me initially. So just go through the highlights. No need to read verbatim.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me. My name is THSOSA, Vice President for THSOSA Lagos chapter and THS class of 98. I'll be presenting the annual report for the Lagos chapter on behalf of the chapter executive. So our first branch meeting, our first chapter meeting of the year held on the 26th of January 2020, and it was a physical meeting, which looks so long ago. So our first meeting held on the 26th, and then we plan to have monthly meetings every last Sunday of the month. Our exco is comprised of 13 people, from the president all the way to welfare officers. However, in the course of the year, we had to replace, there were two openings in the executive, one for the welfare team, where a member had to relocate or chose to relocate, and for the financial secretary, where the previous incumbent, for personal reasons, decided to leave. Normally,
I say, please just go straight to the point. No need to.
I'm just putting a perspective on that. So our AGMs held physically January, February, and March, the last Sunday of each of those months. And then with the arrival of COVID, we were a bit jaded for the months of April and May. April primarily because there was a lockdown and there was no Zoom awareness then, and same thing for June. But by July, and then from July till September, we chose to have virtual meetings. So in the course of the year, we had seven chapter meetings, 3 physical ones and 4 virtual ones. Our total attendance was about 87 members, which was down from 102 members, which we had in total attendance for 2020. That decline is attributable mostly to COVID and the knockoff effect. So people couldn't join for virtual meetings because of data challenges and all of that. Our meeting attendance also dropped from an average of 44 members in 2019 to about 37 on average, with a further drop to 18 members when we switched to virtual meetings. Again, that's a direct effect of the COVID pandemic, which we are looking to ameliorate in the coming year. So for the year, our chapter activities were driven by initiatives that we had kicked off in 2019. So we had one of the most successful end of year parties in 2019 across all chapters, I dare say, and there was a lot of traction. So we were able to get a lot of THSOSA members who are not active in the chapter to attend that, and we wanted to leverage on that. So we set out to leverage on the gains that we had from that end of year party, and then use it to drive our initiative. So, for example, we continued our carpooling initiative, where everyone who had a car was coming from whatever location tried to bring as many people as they could to the meeting. With about 10 to 12 people living in the various areas where we have high concentration of teachers, oldies, that did result in an increase, at least during the fiscal meetings for the Lagos chapter. We also came up with an initiative last year where every month the class, or the set as we call it, with the highest attendance is awarded, or gets not awarded, and then at the end of the year, the sets that had the highest number of attendance during the year then became the set champion for that year. We continued that for a bit this year, but with the COVID pandemic, it has impacted physical meetings. And then we have rethought that to say, okay, how then can we then drive that using virtual meetings? A membership directory was created, maintained, and is actively being updated so that we're able to have an updated contact for each of the members. For each of the members. We also had member initiatives where we had Thursdays dedicated for members to advertise their products or services that they offer. We have an interest-free micro-lending scheme, which is very active. Business support, where we try to expose entrepreneurs to potential short, medium, or long-term investments. And then educational series, where a number of educational sessions were engaging with knowledge and experience of members giving shared. Exco meetings held for at least 1 hour before the monthly meetings, and again for January to March those were physical and then eventually virtual. So for social activities, there was a number of weddings that occurred in the year. We had 3 weddings, 2 in January and 1 in May. Each of the members, that because of we have we have rewards, or we have gifts that we give to members. As far as I'm aware, all members from 2019 and 2020 who are up to date have been giving their gifts. We also had
5 seconds.
We also had 2 childbirths, bereavements of in the family of 7 members, and we had a donation to THS towards their inter-house board, which was a table tennis board valued at 160,000 naira, which will be redeemed in the shortest possible time. Our financials for the year, we had a total of 1.7 million as revenue and 1.2 as expense, with a balance of 930,287 as at 9th of December 2020. Thank you very much for your time. And
okay, thank you. Thank you, right on time. Can we have Worry? If Worry is not
ready, sorry, I was report.
Can we go to Port Harcourt? If Worry is not ready. Can we hear from Worry?
I believe the Worry chapter president is around, so but if she's not yet ready now, maybe we'll move over to Port Harcourt chapter.
Okay, Port Harcourt, please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes, man. So your time starts now.
All right. Actually, I'm going to be very brief. We had 6 meetings this year. Our first meeting was on the 26th of January 2020. We had 3 virtual meetings and 3 physical meetings. Our ESCO comprised of 11 members. We had 3 weddings. 1 actually happened today. And we had 3 childbirths. We had 5 of our members lost their parents. Rex Omabemi, Alex Sokos, Rijeba, Oboda Fede, and Emobosa Oputu. We had an opening balance of 686,540 naira 80 kobo. Our income from dues was 126,500 naira. And we had donations for palliatives and for members who were bereaved. We got a total of 235,500 naira. We had a total income plus donation opening balance and dues of 1,048,450 naira 80 kobo. We had an expenses of 225,000 naira for donations to members. We had 10,000 naira for logistics and 50,000 naira for support to THSOSA, to THS for the inter-house sports. So we have a balance of 528,450 naira 80 kobo. And attach our pictures, which you see at the brochure. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you very much. You did that in a record time of 1 minute for the first second. For the 1 minute for the first second. Thank you. Worry? Worry chapter, can we get your report, please?
Sorry, I can't talk now. I'm on my way home. I will talk to you in under 10 minutes, please. Thank you.
Mr. President, you are muted. We can't hear you. You're muted, Mr. President.
Okay, sorry. Dixon, initially you called Asaba, Abuja, and Benin. Are they here now to present their report? If not, to move on, then to make sure that it's captured in the.
I can't find Asaba. I can't find Abuja. I cannot find.
Laura just came in now.
If any of them is here.
Laura.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Yes, we need your report for Benin, and you have 5 minutes to do that, and your time starts now.
I'm still on the road. You won't believe it. Since morning, I've only been able to join now. I've missed out on everything that happened today. Please, let me get home, and I'll see what I can do by the evening session. I'm on the road.
Okay, no problem. Johnny Messi, but unfortunately the evening section is dedicated for something else. We can't accommodate a chapter report, but endeavor to submit it so that we can put it in the e-brochure and circulate to members.
Mr. President, sir. Mr. President, can you hear me?
Celestine, can you go ahead?
Yeah, these people, don't they have vice presidents? Don't they have deputies to delegate when they are running late, or so there's something kind of stopping them from being prompt? Don't they have deputies? Like Lagos was presented by the vice president.
I quite agree with you, but I can't speak for them, because definitely they will have delegated this. The program for this event has been in circulation for I don't know how long, and being a National Executive Council member, they were even the first to see the timetable before it became public for this event. So if there is anything, whether social engagement or anything, you should have they or whatever they would synchronize that. But be that as it may, I will take it up at the National Executive Council meeting, so that we'll not bother ourselves and waste time unnecessarily here. But definitely, this in take note. So chapters that did not present their reports, we can. Hello, somebody saying something.
Only be speaking, please.
Yes.
Any child for doing this, they should be fined 10,000 naira. They should pay at the end of today. Because I have not slept. I don't see why somebody cannot delegate something. We are leaders, and we must prove that we are leaders.
Supported.
So I'm moving to find 10,000 naira at the end of today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. President, good evening. Hello.
Sorry. I have tried to check the list of attendees, and I think since I'm the only one from Benin chapter that is available now, nobody is online. My vice is not.
I know.
No.
Laura, we will take that at the National Executive Council, but failure to submit your report as at 20, that is what we are looking at now. Then apologies can come later.
Can I come here, sir?
Hello.
Kenneth, can you go ahead?
Please, okay, fine. No. And a lot of persons are in transit owing to one activity or the other. What I would suggest that in as much as it will be taken up at the next level, but I still think that if chapters can post their chapter reports on every WhatsApp on the national blog, then we can now circulate every member. I think it will help us a lot of good.
Like I mentioned, everything will be in the e-brochure, so we'll still circulate it to members.
All right. I want so that it can help us to move forward, so that we don't beat about time.
Thank you.
I personally am joining on the highway, so let's see how it goes.
Okay, no problem. Rolly, you are about saying something. Are you ready to present your report, or you want to expand your explanation? for excuses.
No, I'm not. I said in under 10 minutes. If it seems like it's something so big, maybe I have somebody from my chapter there. In the person of Dixon, maybe we'll take the report there.
Dixon, do you have the report to present?
Another 5 minutes.
Hello, Dixon, do you have the report to present? If you can't sort this out, please, in the next 1 minute, we are closing this section as regards
well,
the report.
let me do a bit for the Warri chapter.
No,
Warri
you are
chapter
presenting the report, not a bit. You are presenting the report.
Well, I would not be able to present the financial aspect of the report.
That is not complete.
I will not be able to.
Okay, please, there's no point taking it.
That is not complete, Dixon.
No point taking it, please.
Please, can we move to the constitution review, please?
Please, can we, please? So
We
let's
have a few
leave that
minutes.
matter. We trash that out at a later time. So going by the program of schedule for today, the next item is presentation of THSOSA reviewed constitution through adoption of the review constitution. The chairman, I think the chairman briefed us, was it yesterday, during the manifesto in the evening, about what we'll be expecting at this particular section. So I will call on the chairman, Constitution Review Committee, Mr. Maro Okene, to take charge here now.
Barrister Maro.
Mr. Maro, please, you can't address him as a barrister.
Aye, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, I can hear you.
I am Maro Okene. I'm the Chairman, National Constitution Review Committee. Before this house is, we are presenting a review of the THSOSA National Constitution. We inaugurated in 2018 at the AGM in Lagos, and we're given a mandate to review the Constitution as a committee and present same at the next AGM for adoption. Unfortunately, this was not possible at the last AGM as due to technical issues, I could not arrive early. However, I'm here today and I present to you the reviewed Constitution of our great association. Before now, we sent copies of the reviewed Constitution to presidents and secretaries of the various chapters to enable them to discuss same on their various platforms and give us feedbacks on the areas they felt needed to be amended, or they had good suggestions to make the Constitution itself, review itself, a healthy one. We've sent them out and we've gotten some feedbacks from Warri chapter and also Port Harcourt chapter. Warri chapter is coming from the president of Warri chapter, where we identified some as typographical errors that can be reconciled, beginning with the second page, whereby we had two particular articles, one article being duplicated twice. Instead of having Article 8 that has to do with organs of administration, it was repeated twice. That was a typographical mistake. And I've noted that one can be reflected. However, there are other sections like Article 7, Section 4, Article 7. Let me talk about Article 6, Section 4, subsection 3, whereby the Warri chapter president made a suggestion that in terms of payment of dues, the category of oldies who are students in tertiary institutions was excluded, and they suggested that we include it. I think that's a quite reasonable suggestion which will be made to reflect in the reviewed constitution. Also, there are also sections that appear to be contentious that were brought in the review, like section 3, subsection 3 of Article 7, that has to do with lateness to meetings. The section itself talks about a member shall be declared late if he or she arrives at a meeting 15 minutes after the opening prayer has been said. However, where a member arrives during or after AOB, he or she shall pay a fine of 500 naira only. The Warri chapter president, sending in her remark, said that amount is quite too high, it should be reduced. And I don't know if the same goes with other chapter members, if they accept that fee or they want a reduction the same way Warri chapter president has actually suggested. That will be one of the areas we need to, if it's contentious, then it will be put to vote. Also, the issue.
Mommy has fought for you. Mommy has fought for me. Has kept her promise. Mommy.
Someone should turn off that mic, please.
Please, Maro, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Also, on page 20, a suggestion was made as regards the inclusion of Article 20, Section 1B, Section 1B, X, which talks about immediate past presidents in the composition of branch executive. In the inclusion of immediate past presidents as ex-official members of branches. This new constitution deals with chapters and also chapters, branches, and also the executive or graduating sets. It's an all-inclusive constitution. We did not just stop at the chapter level. It now has the splitting of chapters into branches, provision for chapters into branches, so that where you don't have a lot of population to make up a chapter, it becomes a branch. And whereby sets do not want to belong to branches or chapters, they can coordinate themselves using the template of the National Constitution as their guide to know who is the coordinator or assistant coordinator. So one of the recommendations is that that section should read immediate past chairman or coordinator respectively, so that we know that those gatherings that we are talking about are not just gathering of old students, but they are gathering of members of THSOSA. That is what the suggestion that was made, but I feel that that suggestion has already been taken care of in the constitution that have been reviewed already. Because except for the one for subsection C, that I think that's where the amendment is coming from. The one for B, for branch executive, is okay. But for the one for graduating set, we're supposed to put immediate past coordinator. It was a typographical error. We put immediate past president instead of coordinator. Then the one for branch was to be immediate past chairman. We put immediate past president. Those are the typographical errors that were identified in that one. Those ones are not contentious. So we can easily reflect them to reflect in the reviewed constitution, having noted them, that rather than instead of putting immediate past branch chairman, it was typed as immediate past president. Therefore, the one for graduating said the composition of the executive. For the column of S official, instead of putting immediate past coordinator, it was mistakenly typed as immediate past president again. We are sorry for that typographical error. And now we move to the next suggestion. Those ones are non-contentious, and we know that the House will take it as not being contentious because they are typographical error. Next also is the issue of on page 19. Page 19 of our reviewed constitution, whereby Article 9, Section 6A of Article 9 is captured as Article 10, and they are talking about the same thing. Those typographical errors will be noted and also reflected because they are not okay. The main contention issue now I want to deal with goes to the area of, is in the area of remitting of dues from the national level, from the chapters to the national level. The old constitution prescribed 2/3 of dues collected to be remitted to the National Executive Committee. And that has raised criticism from the Port Harcourt chapter, who felt that that amount is quite too high. And that is something we have to put into votes. That is something we have to put into vote. If 2/3 of dues collected from chapter members should be remitted to National Executive Committee, or there should be a reduction. Because in our review, we felt there was no need tampering with that section of the old existing constitution. But from the feedback we got in from the field, it shows that it is highly contested that that section should be reviewed again, should be adjusted to accommodate the interest of members, because they see the chapters as the dues itself as a means of chapter generating funds. So they suggested that rather than say 2/3 of the amount collected as dues from chapter members, it should be reduced to 15% of dues collected from chapter members should be remitted to the National Executive Committee from all chapters. If that is not being, if that suggestion is okay, then I think it is not in any way contentious, and we should accept same. Furthermore,
Hello, sir.
I can hear you.
Hello. Can I talk?
Yes, you can talk.
Good evening. The name is Ranu Kwechite, President, Warri Chapter. I also sent in something concerning that, and in my own opinion, 1/10 of the dues generated at chapter level should be remitted to national. Thank you. So I think it's contentious.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Any more?
Let me say something here. Sorry, let me say something here. That 2/3 is as old as THSOSA Constitution, and thank God that Clement is here. And I doubt if from the inception of THSOSA, chapters are even remitting 2/3 of their dues to national. National just based on maybe donation coming from this. So I don't know what the issue there is, that whether 2/3 or this thing, I'm not really too bothered, but whatever it is, let us just put a figure to it. If you are saying you don't want 2/3, then say what you want. And if you are saying what you want, then be sure that you fulfill that.
Hello.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I think the man presentation, let's allow him land his presentation.
No, let me just say something, because there's something the president said about it being as old as time. And the issue, he will also remember that that issue has been contentious as old as our AGMs have been standing. The 2/3 issue, even though it has never been remitted, has been contentious since our AGMs have been standing. We've had that issue. If we go back to all our reports from 2014, 2015, we will see that that particular issue has always come up. It's one of the reasons, there were two of them, that and presidency were the two reasons why we went into the constitution in the first place.
Okay, Maru, round up.
Yes. Okay. In the circumstance, considering the issue that the chapters are already saying that several chapters have come about 1/10, and other chapters have come about 15%, and this is the only contentious section I think is in this reviewed constitution at the moment. I would want to suggest, I want to set the stage for the various chapters and all these present to vote on it. Those who in support of 1/10 should indicate using the message chat that they are in support of 1/10. Those in support of 15% should indicate, so we count and resolve it once and for all and move on to adopt.
And excuse me, sir, Mr. President, sir, if there is a contrary opinion to the 10 and 15%, where does it stand?
See, Kenneth, we have already collected, the people have made their comments, so it's not here you will make additional comments. So what we are putting
we are limiting,
I made a comment in that regard. It wasn't captured, so I don't want to flog it.
Did you submit? No. What was said, what was mentioned that if you are before this when we ask for comment, we say if you have comment, not verbal, submit it. Quote the page number, section, article. So if you did not submit in that format, please don't bring it here.
I did. Well, I said I did what asked for, but let's go. Let's not forget. Let's go on. Yeah, I go with 50%.
Two-thirds. Okay. Any more?
Mr. President.
Can you use the message chat to indicate your voting pattern? If you are voting for 110 for 10%, let me see it. 15%, let me see it. Then we're going to count, and we apply the simple majority rule to resolve what should be there.
While we are doing this voting, may I have a word?
Okay.
Is this in regard to what they are voting on?
Yeah, I see voting now, not what
Since voting is in section, you can't make a comment on it, please.
Not on the voting, but on what we are doing right now, Mr. President.
Okay.
I see everyone just bouncing it freely with their comments at any time they want, and I feel it is very wrong in such a meeting. There should be order. If somebody needs to speak, he should signify and wait to be given the floor to speak. That's the point I want to raise, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. So can we put a time to this voting? So in the next 2 minutes,
Just
2 minutes
because our time is short, in the next 30 seconds, that should be over.
Yeah.
Okay, our time is up. Voting is over. So it's time for us to count now. I think the 15% has the day for about 8 to 7, and we'll go with that. That means the percentage of dues to be remitted from the chapters to the national level, National Executive Committee, is 15%, and that will be reflected in the reviewed constitution. And in the absence of any other remark or comments outside the ones that have been received that we have deliberated on, I present the THSOSA reviewed constitution for adoption. Someone should move a motion for the adoption.
Mr. President,
I move for the adoption.
Mr. President, my hand is up for to say something.
Are we moving for adoption?
I'm moving for adoption.
Mr. President, I have an objection.
What are you saying, Kenneth? What are you saying?
I have an objection, Mr. President.
What are you saying as regards the vote?
No, not about the vote. Adoption.
Yes. What is your own comment?
Yes, I could be wrong, but I stand corrected. If you look at the participant count, there are barely 42 persons. In the Benin AGM, we're about 190 something. That shows that the percentage attendance is very low. with some chapters not even represented. Benin right now is not represented according to Laura. As at the time she spoke, nobody was there. So I'm suggesting that we stand down this constitutional adoption because we don't have a quorum for that. That's my suggestion.
We have a forum because the instruction that we're having this meeting today has been on. So today is at its own detriment. I move of this Oliver Correpe, Port Harcourt chapter. Thank you very much.
Good evening, sirs. My name is Osahan. Thanks to chapter. I don't think I think I want to start with Olive on this. This event was well publicized. We cannot go back now and waste another year. This is an AGM. It was well spoken about, well circulated. We have a house. We should move on with the house number. Thank you.
Mr. President, permission to speak. This is Tega Agosa, President Lagos Chapter.
You have the floor. Yeah.
The convention for meetings and arriving at decisions worldwide in any area regarding anything is determined by members present and voting, not by the total number of members available in the organization or institution. So, unless it is shown that other members were disenfranchised by not giving notice to attend this meeting, their absence is irrelevant. It is those in the meeting that will vote and pass a resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think your explanation is clear on that. It reminds me of how Saraki became the Senate president. When some people decide to go and have a meeting somewhere, but be that as it may, please, Chairman, Constitution Review, can you move on with and conclude your assignment?
Having moved the motion for adoption by the protocol president, moved the motion for adoption of the Constitution, reviewed Constitution, and is supported by Osaon Igbenowaya, and also the president of Lagos chapter lends his voice to the adoption. I hereby pray this honorable house to deem the reviewed constitution as adopted as the current and subsisting constitution of THSOSA, Technical High School Old Students Association, this 14th day of November 2020. Signed by me, Maro Okene, Chairman, National Constitutional Review Committee.
Okay, thank you very much, Maro, and my appreciation to members of your team that worked on this. It has been a contentious issue that keeps repeating itself like a recurring and bad point, but thank God that today we have already laid that to rest. Thank you. I appreciate your effort, and I believe the next stage is for us to tidy it up as regards the typos. And once that is done, you can send it to national so that we can quickly look at it and see how we can send it to press and print so that we can send the copies of the constitution to chapter members so that they can distribute, chapter presidents so that they can distribute to their members. Thank you very much for the work well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everybody. We'll quickly go to the AOB considering the time we have spent, and it's almost time for the next session. We have not even exceeded it. So please, any other business, maybe let's take one or two. Any other business before we close this session, please?
We are 16 minutes, so we are 30 minutes behind schedule, so let's just try and round up. So, Dixon.
Soko Alex, over to you, Soko Alex. Let me hear from Soko Alex, please.
Okay, I thought you were raising your hand. It's just a congratulation. No, it's just a congratulation for the adoption of the Constitution.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all members present for giving me the opportunity and the members of the committee to serve. We really appreciate you all.
Thank you very much. Please, I want to plead our indulgence that will wrap up this session of the AGM, the plenary session at this point. So please, with all due respect, Sir Clement Asitotome, kindly close for us in prayer. I want to hear your voice, sir.
Why didn't you call on Sergeant Zubi? He's the one who wants to become a police. All right. Can you hear me?
I laugh for this one.
All right.
But you are a knight.
Thank you, Father, for today. Thank you for a successful, no problem. Thank you for a successful deliberation. We pray you continue to unite us as one happy family. We're not leaving your presence. We're back shortly for another session. We give you all the glory. May your name be praised in our lives. We ask and pray in Jesus' wonderful name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.